The Cartouche of Khufu in the Great Pyramid of Giza is a historical enigma. The Great Pyramid of Giza, one of the 7 wonders of the ancient world, and the only wonder of the ancient world that is still standing. This place has long been a source of fascination and mystery. No one knows when this wonder was actually built, and mainstream historians will tell us that this place was built during the 4th dynasty of the Old Kingdom of Egypt, and it is traditionally attributed to the pharaoh Khufu. But the evidence linking the pyramid to Khufu is surprisingly sparse, with one of the most significant pieces being the cartouche found in the pyramid's relieving chambers. This cartouche, bearing Khufu's name, has been the subject of intense scrutiny and debate, particularly in light of claims that it might have been planted there by British explorer Colonel Richard William Howard Vyse during the 19th century, which was a period often referred to as Egyptomania. About 10 years ago, 2 German archaeologists entered the Great Pyramid, and they took a sample of the red ochre paint that the cartouche is made from. And get this, the red paint from the Khufu Cartouche in the Great Pyramid carbon dated to the 19th century, specifically 1837. This is when the Cartouche of Khufu was discovered in the Great Pyramid by Colonel Howard Vyse. The discovery of the cartouche in 1837, Colonel Howard Vyse and his team were conducting examinations in the Great Pyramid when they apparently discovered a series of small sealed chambers above the King's Chamber, now known as the relieving chambers. The story goes that within these chambers, Howard Vyse found quarry marks and hieroglyphics, including a cartouche that appeared to spell out Khufu's name. And at the time, up until this time, this discovery was hailed as definitive proof that the Great Pyramid was indeed built for Khufu, as it provided a direct link between the pyramid and the pharaoh. Vyse's methods and motivations have been called into question. The 19th century was a time of intense European interest in Egypt, fuelled by Napoleon's campaigns and the subsequent decipherment of hieroglyphs by Jean-Francois Champollion. And as we say, this period was known as Egyptomania, and it saw a rush to uncover and claim ancient Egyptian artefacts, often with little regard for scientific rigour or ethical considerations. Critics of Howard Vyse argue that he may have fabricated or altered the evidence to secure his place in history. Vyse was not a trained Egyptologist, and his excavation methods were crude by modern standards. Some scholars have pointed out inconsistencies in the hieroglyphs found in the relieving chambers, suggesting that they may have been hastily or inaccurately drawn. The very fact that the cartouche was found in a previously inaccessible chamber raises questions about how it could have been placed there in antiquity. Proponents of the cartouche's authenticity argue that while Vyse's methods may have been flawed, there is no conclusive evidence that he fabricated the cartouche. They say the hieroglyphs, including the cartouche, are consistent with other examples from the 4th dynasty, and that the quarry marks found in the relieving chambers are similar to those found in other parts of the pyramid. The very idea that Vyse could have successfully planted the cartouche without detection is seen as unlikely, given the complexity of the pyramid's interior and the difficulty of accessing the relieving chambers. The cartouche of Khufu in the Great Pyramid of Giza remains a subject of debate among Egyptologists and modern day historians. While it provides a tantalising link between the pyramid and the pharaoh, questions about its authenticity and the circumstances of its discovery persist. Whether the cartouche is genuine or a product of 19th century Egyptomania it serves as a reminder of the complexities and the challenges of interpreting ancient history. As new technologies and methodologies continue to shed light on the past, the mystery of Khufu's Cartouche may yet be resolved, offering new insights into one of the world's most iconic monuments. In the meantime, the Great Pyramid of Giza continues to stand as a testament to the ingenuity and ambition of ancient Egypt, captivating the imagination of all who encounter it. And maybe the pyramid's design allowed it to generate and transmit energy. Things like the materials used, the internal structure, and maybe even some ancient technology. But how does this work? Proponents of this theory argue that the pyramid's design allowed it to generate and transmit energy. The Great Pyramid, it's made primarily of limestone and granite. Limestone is a sedentary rock, and granite contains quartz, which is piezoelectric, meaning it can generate electricity under pressure. But is this really feasible? How much pressure is needed, and would the static charges from quartz be enough to generate significant power? The pyramid is full of shafts and chambers, like the King's Chamber with its granite beams. Some theories suggest these were part of a resonance system. If sound or vibrations were channeled through these chambers, maybe they could generate energy through resonance. But how would the ancient Egyptians have known about such technology? That seems anachronistic. Another aspect is the location. The Great Pyramid is on the Giza Plateau, which has a high concentration of natural telluric currents. These are electrical currents that move through the earth. Maybe the Great Pyramid was built there to harness these currents. Water may play a part too. There are theories that the subterranean chamber and shafts allowed water to flow, creating hydrogen through chemical reactions, which could then be used as a fuel source. The absence of traditional burial artifacts in the Great Pyramid is often cited as evidence against it being a tomb. Most Egyptologists argue that the Great Pyramid was looted in antiquity, and they say the looting explains the missing items. Mainstream archaeologists and historians reject the power plant theory, citing a lack of evidence and anachronistic assumptions. They point out there is no trace of the machinery or infrastructure needed for power generation, like wires, batteries, or turbines. But remember, nothing survives the passage of time, with the exception of stone structures. The pyramid power plant theory uses the pyramid's materials, structure, and location to argue it was once an ancient power plant. Mainstream scholarship dismisses it due to the inconsistencies, favouring the tomb theory despite some unanswered questions.